Hello and welcome to another Watch Report video review. My name is James Stacy. Today we're taking a look at something really interesting, really cool, and in every way very rare to our content stream. This is not a watch, it's a watch winder. It's built by a company called Wolf Designs, who's been in the business of watch winders for 177 years. They're considered to be one of the biggest players in the market. They make fantastic and very well received winders. They have a number of different systems, and the one you're looking at today is in the Roadster series. It's the Roadster Triple. It's based on what's called their Module 2.7, which I'll explain in greater detail. But at a macro level, what you're looking at is a winder which is just shy of 18 inches wide. It's 7 3/4 inches deep and 8 3/4 inches tall. Obviously, you have 3 winder systems. Each is controlled by its own control panel, which is behind the tempered glass door. By pressing in the latch, you can lift the lid, where you have room for another 5 watches and a removable travel case. I'll show you that in greater detail in a moment. So what we'll do now is we'll take a closer look at the actual winding system and kind of the technologies that Wolf has in its winders. Okay, so now that we're in a little closer, first you'll realize I have, they're all dive watches, but they're all a little bit different. We have a Tag Heuer Aqua Racer, a little thinner, obviously a thinner bracelet, and not especially heavy. We have a Halios Laguna on a big, thick 4mm leather strap, and lastly we have one of the new Seiko 5 White Baby Monsters on the last one. We just got that one in. And basically what you're getting in this winder system is the ability to take a watch that you have or haven't been wearing, clip it into a cushion-based system called a cuff, which then slots into one of these drums, 77mm wide, 71mm deep. It houses all sizes of watches, wrist sizes up to maybe a little bit more than 10 inches. You can mount a very heavy watch, such as one like this with a big steel bracelet, and you're basically depressing this cushion in and mounting the watch on it, closing the bracelet. And the Module 2.7 gives you the ability to lock in on the edge of the barrel, the cuff itself, so that you're not spreading the weight into the back of the system, which is tough on the motors and typically leads to a lesser lifespan of the winder itself. The motors in all of these watch winders made by Wolf Designs are anti-magnetic, and thus they won't magnetize the movement of the watch. That's something to look out for if you're buying, say, very cheap winders off eBay. A cheap motor won't be magnetically shielded or won't be shielded properly and can damage the watch itself, which is pretty much counterintuitive to having a winder in the first place. So once you have the watch on, you'll see it even suits really large, really chunky straps. If you're a Panerai fan or a collector of Breitlings, this should suit your watches perfectly and keep them wound and ready to wear at any time. Okay, and here we are zoomed in directly into the front panel of the Roadster Triple. I'm really hoping it conveys in the video and the photographs well. The overall build quality of this winder is excellent. This beautiful wood finish on the front. The chrome fittings remind me of a Marshall amp. The leather finishing on the case itself is just lovely. They've done a really nice job. They've taken really extensive steps to make sure that the details are what they should be for a product at this price point, and then they back it up with some pretty cool technology. So the winder system itself, we'll kind of look at it in a single cell at this point, is controlled via a twin knob set up at the bottom here, so we'll zoom in on that. So what you're looking at here is the control for the Module 2.7. So on the right you'll see off, on, and then what looks like a small timer. The timer allows you to set up a delayed start, anywhere between 6 and 72 hours. The delayed start means that if you have a watch that's fully wound, you've been wearing it for a while, you don't want to put it on a winder and have it instantly start winding, basically making the watch run against a full power reserve all the time. Could be weeks before you come back to the watch. This way the delayed start will allow the watch to wind down some of its power before it starts winding the watch and regaining its power reserve. On the left you'll have the options A, B, and C. A for clockwise, B counterclockwise, C is bidirectional. I've been running all my watches on a bidirectional, So if the watch winder is set to do 600 rotations in a day, it would do 1200 in bidirectional. So what I'll show you here is you can turn it on by clicking it to on. Backlight comes on. I'm not sure that'll show up that well in the video. Currently showing 600. You can use plus or minus to add or remove values. You'll also, when the winder's running correctly, you'll get a flashing green. When it's running incorrectly, you'll get a flashing red. And then on the left you can again set up bidirectional or your counterclockwise or clockwise, and that's, you know, if your watch has specific instructions not to be bidirectionally wound. For delayed start, so we can shut the winder off like such. Set it to delayed start and it gives the options. Default is 24 hours, and as I said, you can go up from there, and there's 72, and you can bring it all the way down. Some watches with a power reserve, I suppose you could set it to what you know your power reserve already is, whether the power reserve is full or it has a reserve indicator. That's a pretty simple system, and that's literally all you're doing. Putting the watch on the cuff, which I'll show you in a moment, and once it's fully on, you click it back in, you set up your programming, and you let it run. Not too difficult. If you just want it to run a simple programming with no delays, click it to on, choose how many winds you would like in a day, and let it run. So what we'll do is we'll move over to the Halios here, and we'll take a closer look at actually mounting the watch on the cushion. Okay, so what we have in the Halios Laguna is a fairly large sport watch. I have it fitted on a chunky 4 or 5 millimeter black leather strap. When you remove the cuff, you'll see all there is to this system is really a cushion. We'll remove the strap. So that's your cushion there. Without the watch, it simply sits in, gives you the Wolf Designs logo, and it looks pretty good even when you don't have a watch on it, but hey, if you're going to buy a triple winder, you might as well put 3 watches on it, right? So the system's pretty simple. You're simply taking a watch, putting it on the lovely leather pad, obviously not going to scratch your case backs, depressing it much like it would be to the size of your wrist, fitting that watch, and Panerai owners take note. Big chunky leather strap like this should give a winder lots of trouble, or generally would anyways. There we have it fitted. Push it in, click it. I'm going to go ahead and start it. And again, if you have any problems, you won't see your flashing green light, which you should be able to see here. And there it is. So we're now on. It's going to give you the 600. It's going to start winding it. And there we go. Okay, so this works the same with the bracelet, just as it would on the tag. Clip it on, depress the cushion, you're pretty much ready. Set it in place and turn it on. And in a moment you have it winding. And there you are. That's pretty much the Module 2.7 system as far as it pertains to the Roadster Triple. You want a watch wound, you clip it into one of its cushions, put the cuff into the cylinder. If you want a delay start, you click a knob, one more setting, and press a couple of buttons to decide the value. It really isn't difficult to use in any way at all. It's actually as easy to use as, say, setting the time on your current watch. What we'll do now is we'll take a look at the upper deck where you can store some of your other watches, and I'll show you the battery compartment as well. Okay, and here's the upper level of the Roadster Triple. What you get is 5 kind of standard cushions and a travel pouch. So cushions are pretty simple. This is a good place to store a watch maybe that you don't wear as often, or something maybe you don't want in view, or something that's hand wound. Pretty simple. It's actually a really nice way to show off a collection, and obviously everything functions with the lid up. It doesn't inhibit the system in any way. Great place to put a G-Shock or 2 if you've got them. Obviously they won't need the winder. There's your G-Shock. That sits in. Travel pouch is actually pretty nice. So this is if you're going to travel, or if you're going to leave it in the box, and that's a good space maybe to put some tools or a polishing cloth, or you know, if you're going to keep a watch in the box, make sure it's something really fancy, maybe to show off. In this case, a $30 vintage hand winder. You got room for a large strap or a case size, and you've got room for some tools or extra straps and such in there as well. flip it around, we'll take a look at the battery setup. Okay, and here we have the back side. I would say the only boring angle of view of the Roadster Triple from Wolf Designs. Here you have the jack for the power adapter. That's a 3.3 volt adapter. It comes with the winder, and here you have the door. This is where you can fit in basically your entire collection of D batteries. If it's plugged into the adapter, it will save the D batteries for use. You will need 6 of them, but again, if you're going to run the winder in a situation where you won't have access to AC power on a shelf or in a display cabinet of its own, this might be the best way to do it. The website quotes 4 to 6 months of runtime, so not too bad for your 6 D-cell batteries. I prefer using the adapter. Much more simple. Okay, so this has been our video review of the Wolf Designs Roadster Triple. To sum up, I think it's excellent. Beautifully made, very well finished. Lots of fine craftsmanship, great to touch, great to watch. It doesn't make any noise thanks to its nylon gears, and it's an absolutely great way to both show off and protect your collection and make your collection a little bit more accessible by having your watches ready to simply pick up and wear. Obviously, if they sit on the winder for a month, you might have to change the date, but that's going to be the lot of it. The Roadster Triple is available directly through Wolf Designs at a retail price of $1,100. If you like the Roadster Triple or anything like it at Wolf Designs, check back at watchreport.com. The final paragraph of our review will have a promo code. That code will get you 50% off any purchase over $200. So again, they have options running from a single watch winder all the way up to an 8-watch winder. We thought this was a pretty good example of what the brand has to offer. It's beautifully made, it's fantastically fun to watch and have sitting on a desk, and it's a great way to kind of protect and cherish your collection. Thanks very much for your time, and this has been the video review of the Wolf Designs Roadster Triple for watchreport.com.